Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now we're currently joined by Sleeping Warrior, Paul, Flatzoid and 10th Man. Very good to have you all.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, good to have you.
Hey, that was a good show yesterday, the toe tag 344.
Yeah, I mentioned it on one of the shows because I didn't know who he was, but I tuned into Jose's and heard him. I'm like, oh, there's a blast from the past. Why is he lurking over on Jose's, I wonder?
Yeah.
And then I remembered who he was and thought, oh, right, because he got absolutely battered here, didn't he? Right, where's that
when
video?
he did his model. It was brilliant.
Yeah, when he did his model. So I went looking for it and just could not find it. And then somebody, I think his name was James, in the chat was like, do you remember that dude you were looking for? And I was like, no, who? And he said, 344, the failed model guy admits he's got a belief. And instantly I knew who he was. So I went and dug it out and trimmed it out and published it again. Just that section, that one little bit.
You need to put these in a playlist, Nathan, so that we can find them easily.
I'm going to be adding more and more that are, toe tag numbers. So I've asked people to say, if you've got a toe tag number for a particular globe head, give me their number.
Conspiracy cats.
What's his toe tag number?
I don't know. That's what we need to find.
Useless. Right, I'm going to do a quick shout out. So Jaronism got in touch. I presume you watched yesterday's show because he said, "Can you shout out this particular YouTuber?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, no worries." So the channel is called Flat Reality Earth Explorers. So give them a subscribe and go and check out their videos. I'll put a link in the info box below the live stream, which obviously this isn't. This is the premiering stream, so I'll hopefully make sure to put a link to them in that video also. But yeah, go and check them out. Flat Reality Earth Explorers, and it's they're a new channel to me, so I don't know a great deal about them. I'm going to be checking them out over the weekend, but they were recommended to me by Jaronism, so check them out. Link is in the info box below.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
Nathan, just sorry, is it about to thunderstorm where you live, Nathan? Is it getting dead close and sticky?
Yeah, it feels it. I don't know. I'm looking out my window. It doesn't look like it's going to, but it does feel it. You're right. It is clammy.
Yeah, it's bloody horrible. Sorry, 10th Man. What were you going to say?
No, I was just saying on that toe tag show 344, it was so wonderful to see the dissection of the questions. And eventually the guy had to say, oh, I didn't put that in there. Oh, that's not in my model. And it was like, what? You've been telling us all this and you're not even honest.
And the irony is, you know, that when Jerem was documented by the documentary people, whoever it was, and Jerem's got that line now against him of interesting. That's the exact line that he used.
Oh, okay.
What's his name? Yeah. Can't remember what his name is now.
Well, you know, most people will come out and say words like, you know, that's interesting. I'm not ready to discuss it. Give me a week and let's do this again, because I'm just not, you know, but they'll say the whole thing. This guy would just say, okay. And then Nathan would say, what do you mean, okay? And then he'd say, interesting. What do you mean, interesting? He never finished it up until Nathan, through more discreet questions, you know, brought him to that point. But he had to at that point because he looked ridiculous for just saying okay and interesting.
Nathan, have you heard the latest rumour mill turn about Red's rhetoric? Nathan.
He's checking on some fan on some board, probably. So what's happening with Red's rhetoric?
I'll wait till Nathan comes back, because if I talk about it now, it'll just, I'll end up repeating it because it's interesting. Nathan, do us a favor. Are you there, Nathan?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Do us a favor. You know, with this Mind Warp asks me every single day for the link. I don't mind giving him, but it's just annoying. Can you add him to the chat that you normally add people to? He's about to. There he is.
Yeah. What? I thought he was in Master B anyway.
No.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll do it now.
And whilst you're doing that, check this out. Have you heard the latest rumour mill with regards to Red's rhetoric? Red's ret.
I don't watch any of these idiots.
Apparently, he works in some kind of claims company or something, but he was heard speaking over the tannoy system of an airline in an airport somewhere. Somebody recognised his voice, but actually saw him speaking into the, the tannoy, wherever the tannoy was located. He heard the voice, he recognised it as Red's rhetoric, and he's looking at the bloke that's speaking into the microphone, and he recognised the voice and put it together and realised that he's looking at Red's rhetoric. So he went up to him and he goes, "Hi, Reds." And basically this bloke like shimmied off into the background really quick and hid his face as though he was some kind of paparazzi kind of target. And obviously obsessed with protecting his identity for whatever reason. But yeah, apparently there's some expose coming out in the next couple of days in regards to what he looks like, because he was caught on his phone and stuff like that. So just keep your ears peeled, because well, they found out who he is.
Anthony, who's this rhetoric?
Red's rhetoric's just one of the most
Do you care?
rude and offensive guys that you'll ever come across.
Do you actually care who he is?
No, I'm just saying Anthony's talking about him, but who is this?
No, the answer is no. I don't care who he is, but I do enjoy the fact that he's tried to hide his identity for that long and he's been finally rumbled. So I'm not asked about who he is, but just the fact that he's lost something that he holds dear.
That's totally personal, though.
Oh, he's a prick.
Okay, fair enough. It's not my attitude, but fair enough. He wants his anonymity. He's entitled to it, as far as I'm concerned.
Sure, but he hides it as though it's like the crown jewels, and if someone spots it and catches him out innocently, like without trying to track him down, and he happens to trip up,
But these are people that obviously can't argue with him on his level in terms of globe Earth versus flat Earth, and would rather just dox him than argue with him.
No, he hasn't doxed him. That's my point. He didn't do it with intention. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and he recognised him. That's not doxing him.
Okay, revealing his identity then.
Not just showing what he looks like and exposing him.
Who cares?
Just
exposing the man, though, isn't it?
So he holds it dear as though it's some kind of massive important thing. Oh, and apparently he's really identifiable as well in terms of recognisable. I don't know what that means. I guess he means he's somebody in the I don't know what it means. I've just heard that he was very recognisable. So I don't know whether it's a positive or a negative. It could be either.
Who knows?
Still doesn't answer my question. Who is he? What does he do?
He lives in Tampa Bay in Florida, and he's just a baller. But he's just very vulgar and rude.
Oh, okay.
I'm not that interested in these people personally. Their names and stuff. Who cares?
Yeah.
I've got a question that I've been thinking about. That's what I do a lot, is think. Of course, it gets me in trouble all the time. But whenever you guys, if it's okay to bring it up, I will bring it up. If not, I will wait.
Do what you like, Paul. There's no getting in trouble here.
Yeah, I know.
When there's a heated discussion going on, when somebody steps all over someone who's literally about to make their crescendo, come to the crescendo of their point.
Oh, did I do that? I'm so sorry.
No, you don't do that.
Arwin's got a habit of doing it.
Arwin does it all the time.
I got you. Here's my thought. I was watching. I know Anthony brought it up past show or in the discussion at some point about the gravimeter from Glowbusters they were talking about on their show, and I was actually sitting there thinking to myself about this force thing. The force is always, they said it's an accelerating force. What if the force isn't there until something is in motion? And the question really is, obviously, the question is what's causing the motion? what's causing the acceleration or causing the movement. Do you understand where my thought process is going? Because I think they're saying gravity is an accelerating force, which obviously we know that that's, it's a fictitious force, but obviously something in motion has force attributed to it. Like if I throw a ball, there's a
because F equals ma. That's what they apply.
Right. Now, this is the hard part I have, is how do I formulate my question? Because I have a thought, but I can't formulate the question. We don't know the cause, so to speak, of, we can say it's relative density, but the cause of why the denser things move towards our feet where I'm standing on the ground, and the less dense things move upward or go towards the sky. I'm trying to get away from the directional thing. We don't know the cause, but they're trying to attribute a force to something that you can only do when something is in motion or movement. But obviously the kinetic energy, like even I was watching that plane, the zero-G plane, there's a lot of energy in a sense expelled or given to the plane and every object in the plane to get it into the air, obviously. And then obviously the release of that energy is what's, when it's going back towards the ground. So I'm wondering, it's just the same old thing I've said before, what if we keep asking the wrong question, or we're attributing something that's it's not really there. Well, I don't know how to say it. My thoughts are going everywhere. Part of me bringing this up is maybe help you formulate my thought. Do you understand anything I'm trying to incoherently try to say? Any of you guys on the panel?
Not really. Yeah, it sounds like you're trying to look for something that isn't there.
Right, but you see an interaction, and you can attribute the force. You can only attribute the forces when something is in motion. Would you agree with that? Would that not be relevant?
Based on their definition, the problem is that they have an equivocation for mass, don't they? So how are you going to get any further than defining mass and then finding out that they use an equivocation?
Right.
One thing's a measure of its acceleration, and the other thing's its resistance to an acceleration. So you've got all sorts of different descriptions of what mass actually is, and if you're going to use it in physics, you've got to have a very rigorously defined term for what it actually is.
The problem is, though, when I was chatting with Nathan Thompson, Bob said that mass, in its colloquial sense, is basically weight. Now the problem with that is weight. The way I see weight is like that cherry tomato. When you pull the cherry tomato down and it goes up to find its equilibrium, that makes sense. If you pull it out of its equilibrium but up, it's going to go back down to find its equilibrium. So the way I see it is when they put a weight on a set of scales, what you're actually measuring is how far away that object is from its state of equilibrium, rather than its weight, the way we understand it. I can't see it as weight anymore. I see it as how far away from its equilibrium point is it if it was in a continuously getting more dense medium, or if the density was to continue in a state, then it would eventually find its equilibrium and not move anymore. So when you're measuring weight, the way I see it now is you're measuring how far out of equilibrium it is, the relative state of disequilibrium it's in.
Pressure, isn't it? Pressure.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say
pressure.
So, well, here's the thing. And I know the gravity. When I was listening about the gravimeter, it's supposed to be, the tubes are supposed to be in a vacuum. So, how would that relate? Because there would be, in a sense, no pressure. I mean, there would be relative pressure. It would be really relatively low pressure inside that vacuum tube, so to speak. So, how would that equate to that?
You're going the wrong way, though. You're removing the medium it's relative to. You need to be adding to the medium to get it towards its state of relative density, right? So what they say is, well, that direction is gravity. And I'm like, it isn't, because if it was, then the gravity would be detectable. We can't detect it. Oh, but we've got gravimeters. Yeah, but they're clearly at the molecular level. They're not causing enough of a momentum for anything to react to it. Because that's why I don't think that they're measuring anything to do with gravity. I think they're measuring God, if I'm honest. And
measuring what? I didn't catch that. Measuring what?
Sorry. What was the last thing you heard me say?
That's all I heard was measuring something, and then I never
God.
heard what the something was that they're measuring.
God. He said God.
Oh, measuring God. Okay.
Can you do me a favour, Paul? We're about to start in 60 seconds. Is there any chance you can just join Discord just to check it works today?
Who, me?
Yes, you've got Discord, haven't you?
I do, yeah. Hang on a second, I'll jump over there.
Oh, thank you. I won't start the show just so I can make sure we can actually get people joining on Discord at least.
Yeah, that didn't work yesterday, did it?
Yeah, it was my fault. I need to unserver mute him, don't I? Oh, you're already unserver muted.
Yeah, I'm in. I hear echo. Okay, and I hear myself in the in your stream. So
yeah, that's because you're in two places. Just drop from Discord, or if you can pop yourself on mute in the Hangout, just to make sure you can actually. I just want to see your level dancing in Discord. No, it's not. You're on mute, Paul, in Discord. Server muted? He's server muted. Try now, Paul.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Right, perfect. I'll start the show.
Did me just stay in here?
Don't mind where you go. Probably better in the Hangout, actually, if I'm honest. Hey, Chocolate.
Okay.
Just about to start, mate.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Chocolate.
Good morning, everybody.
Level you up and then I'll start.
Hey, Chocolate, did you get a new mic or something? You've been sounding really crisp and clear.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, 10th Man, Travis, Paul, Flatzoid, Chocolate Saying, and I think that's pretty much it. Good to have you all.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good morning.
Very good to have you all. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Hello.
Hello, Paul. Any signs of Earth curvature? Anybody at all?
No curve.
None whatsoever.
About axial rotation. Any signs of that?
Not that either.
Definitely not.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No apparent
measurable distance to the sun, but you can think of one.
I can imagine there's a distance measured, but there isn't one. Indeed. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity. Scientific evidence thereof. Travis.
Silly.
Nope.
I'd like to continue the discussion since what I was talking about before the show is gravity, so-called gravity related. And I was thinking about something Anthony said. You said about the gravitometers measuring God. I still don't know if I can say that, but I could say that they might be measuring the mechanism God uses to cause the effect that we see of relative density. You understand what I mean by that?
Yeah. I think I had a good conversation on Nathan Thompson's this morning. Bob was in it. Nathan, for some reasons, at Denver. He's stopped on his way through. He took a pit stop. And Bob was in with him. And basically, Bob's happy to accept that whatever this is, the gravimeters are measuring, it's clearly not what we're told it is, because it's not mass attracting mass. Now, Bob says it could be, and he thinks it is, the Earth attracting mass, in the sense that, imagine that Earth's negative and everything around us is positive. There is some kind of interaction going on, and he describes it as a force. And I'm like, well, we can agree with that. That's not necessarily it's not necessarily contentious, but the issue is it's not mass attracting mass, right? And he agrees it's not mass attracting mass, but he does say he thinks it's Earth attracting mass. And I'm like, right, okay. But when a baller came in to give some opposition, he immediately said, if you agree that there's a downwards acceleration force that is equal to or very similar to what we're saying is gravity, then that removes the gravity argument right out of the equation. There's no discussion about it anymore. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? It doesn't at all. So the problem is, if we spitball with the idea of something else, but we use the phrase gravity, ballers immediately hijack what we've just discussed. And then they say that there's nothing to talk about anymore because you've agreed there's a downwards acceleration force. And we're like, whoa. So we've got to be really careful. But we suggested that we shouldn't use the word gravity because it's such a trigger word. They hijack it immediately. Maybe we should call it godity, because unless they can prove that it's the thing that they tell us it is, it can equally be God. Why not? Not saying it is, but what I'm saying is just to contrast against the word gravity, because they can't be trusted with meanings of words, contexts. Like the true meaning of words, they can't be trusted with it.
Well, that's kind of that's why I'm trying to avoid the term when I'm talking about it, because I think that's why I said mechanism. We don't know what that mechanism is that's causing the relative density and causing why things move, the denser things move towards our feet, And I think that's why I was saying, I think the reason I was thinking like I was thinking is the only way you can attribute a force is when something is in motion. But if something is at rest, there's no force applied. The force disappears. In my mind, I could be wrong, but that's the way I'm thinking about it. So there is something causing things to be the way they are. And you're right, it could be simply the word God, and you can just apply that big G there. But I have a problem with that because of God is immaterial, which means he can't be weighed, measured. You can't, like John says, you can't give him kilojoules, you can't give him measurements, you can't give him anything. So that would not necessarily be attributable to God in that sense. It would be more of his mechanism he uses, to do that thing. And now the mechanism is what we're after. And I don't know what that mechanism is. I'm just...
The word gravity in the dictionary, outside of how the ballers use it, says here dignity, sobriety, gravity and learning, seriousness, the gravity of the offense. So now the ballers and pseudoscientists have said that means acceleration, force, started with mass attracts mass, then it's space-time bending. Who knows 5 years from now what they'll give it.
Was that like everything. The first? Were those the first usages?
Well, I'd have to go check to see the root word and all that.
No. What I mean is, you're reading from an entry. Are you reading entry number 1, entry number 2? That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, entry number 1 was dignity, sobriety, and then 2 was weight. 3 is gravitational attraction. 4 could be my name. 5 could be your name. I mean, this is ridiculous. And they're trying, the only thing gravity is important to in this usage is the ballers. And they have to have it for the oceans to stick to this ball. So they have to defend it to their death. Except Nathan says it pretty nicely when he looks outside his window. Everything's at rest. Everything's at equilibrium. Oh, the leaf fell. Well, let's go to the beginning of that leaf. It had a bud first, had to use energy, had to grow into its size, and then as it dried up, it's severed and it's finding equilibrium. I mean, this is what are we talking about acceleration? I mean, we'd be crashing all over the place if there was acceleration.
Indeed.
We're finite beings. We're given a place to live that has these obvious, wonderful statutory rules that God set up in the beginning. It's the spirits don't and are not bound by these rules, only the flesh. And we don't feel acceleration.
Hey guys, how are we all?
Very well, Mind Warped. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Feeling a lot better.
Well, at least your health is accelerating.
Yeah. Did you guys watch my video about what was happening? Or yeah, the old ticker. It's all good though.
Housekeeping.
Yeah, we should move on if that's the end of the gravity discussion. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
That's a negative.
No, on that show yesterday, 344 toe tag, I think Anthony brought up the iron, the degrees, and how it loses its magnetism. So they don't even have anything there.
About the R value, any evidence of Earth radius? Anybody?
Nope.
Anybody at all?
No.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container?
Only in Narnia.
Well, that's pretty much it. That concludes the housekeeping.
I've heard the answer, just go outside and just look up. That doesn't work here.
Well, if you went outside, you would experience gas pressure, and given that the necessary antecedent for gas pressure is a container, you could go outside and assume there's a container, because it falls in line with all the natural laws. Going outside, looking at the sky and assuming it's a vacuum, on the other hand, would be a violation of the second law of thermodynamics and Boyle's law.
Yeah, I get that. But the same people that assert that to me tell me I'm spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. So I have to question that.
Not only that, though, Nathan, not only is there a gas pressure, and that means that there must be a container, we have a density gradient above us that is the atmosphere. The weight of the atmosphere is pushing down on us, right? But that pressure's supposed to be pushing out in all directions, right? But the fact that we have a density gradient only comes from having a container. If there wasn't a container, there wouldn't be a density gradient. It would burst off into space. So it's like, it's the two things. We have gas pressure and we have a density gradient. They are only consistent inside a container. So where is that container?
Is Boyle's law summary that gases do not bond and they go in all directions? Is that a good summary for Boyle's law?
It's based on the volume, basically, of the container itself.
Can you just give me a summary then?
Yeah, the pressure will be dictated based on the volume of the container. So if you've got a smaller container, you've got a bigger pressure, and vice versa. So if you increase the size of the container, the gas pressure will decrease.
Got it. All right, so we got Boyle's law and second law of thermodynamics. Now, what's more reasonable? Knowing the reality of those two things, that there is a container or we have the vacuum of space.
Yeah, we definitely haven't got a vacuum of space. It violates natural laws. So it's preposterous to even suggest that we have a vacuum of the sky. Now, on the converse side of that, I don't know what the sky is, and I'm never going to claim to. But I'm not telling most of the Western world that it's a vacuum now, am I? That's the current rhetoric, and that's nonsense.
Well, just because you can't see it doesn't mean there isn't a container.
Well, it's the way John phrases this is to say if you put a ribeye in front of him, he doesn't need to see the cow.
Right.
To know that the cow existed.
Yeah.
Well, that's the basis of my question.
Well, it's an antecedent.
What's more reasonable to believe is that there is a container because of Boyle's law and second law of thermodynamics, if you're going to be reasonable.
Well, no. Boyle's law and the second law of thermodynamics would be the reason why we don't have a sky vacuum. Now, they're natural laws, so they're always going to apply. So, not necessarily. In terms of whether or not there's something for the gas pressure to press upon, that goes without saying. It's an antecedent. If you've got nothing to press on, then you have no pressure. That's how it works. So without the container, there can be no pressure.
So we got three. We got second law, we got Boyle's law, and the antecedent. Something must push against something.
Yeah, those would be the three critical details that absolutely crap all over the idea that the sky is a vacuum called outer space. It isn't. That's nonsense.
So that's the premise of my statement. What's more reasonable to believe? Those three things that we could put our hands on and understand and actually test, or something that goes against those three items that violate laws.
Sure, but those three things require no belief, and if you were to assert in any way, shape or form that you don't believe natural laws, then that gets a belly laugh. It doesn't matter. A few people on the panel have said, I don't believe, prove this natural law, and I just laugh at them. No, it's a natural law. You're never going to defy it. If it was ever defied, it wouldn't be a natural law. So you go ahead and try and violate that natural law for me if you believe it doesn't hold true, even though it's always exampled everywhere. So no, I'm not going to just accept that I have a belief in a law of nature. I don't. The contrary, on the other hand, is that people believe their sky vacuum, a violation of that natural law, is actually the case. So our side of the argument doesn't require any belief whatsoever. We just toe the line with natural laws. Why wouldn't you? They're natural laws. And the converse is the globeheads who violate natural laws in their fundy sky belief about a vacuum called outer space. So it's not which is more reasonable to believe. Our side doesn't require any belief. There's just natural laws and we don't defy them, unlike them. Hey, Ranty.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, one is self-evident.
But one's a natural law.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's self-evident. That's right there. It's right in front of you.
Funny thing I've been hearing a lot lately is that because we know these guys don't like the definition of gas pressure because it requires a container. So now people will try to tell me that it's not gas pressure, it's atmospheric pressure. Because
begging the question.
Right. The definition for that doesn't require a container. And it's like, wait, what is the atmosphere again? What is that made out of? Gas? Oh.
Yeah, they don't like it. It's like when Einstein replaces or supersedes Newtonian principles. They say that superseding means, that doesn't mean replaces. It means adds to or refines. It's like, no, it doesn't.
So could it be possible that, like, is there actually a gas that could be dense enough to act as a container?
No.
Just wondering.
Not what gases do. Gases aren't containers.
Not a gas.
I know that. I mean, like something like dense enough. Like,
yeah, you might get. Well, that's the thing with absolute zero. Hydrogen is a liquid. No, helium is still technically a liquid, but hydrogen is a solid.
Can you hear us, Cinder?
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Good to have you.
Thank you very much.
I had a bone to pick with you, Cinder. What did I want you for?
You had to prove electromagnetism scientifically to me.
Oh shit, that was what. Yeah, I remember you asking about that.
You have time. You have still time. And I wanted to ask Nathan, what's 854 plus 1?
Why did you ask me that? Why'd you ask me that?
Because I think that it would be important to look at your title.
Oh, you're saying that you got the wrong show number?
I've got the wrong. I knew there would be a reason. It wouldn't just be simple mathematics that you were challenging me with.
But you could
very observant.
But you could think 854 plus 1 as 846, right? You could think as it would be 846. But anyway,
Thank you.
I think I served my purpose.
I like that. You're making George Musa jokes in there. Nice.
It was like,
Oh, I missed
you
that.
know-
I was doing the number change. I missed that. Oh, I love a good George Musa joke. Can you repeat it, please, Inder? Even
No,
though I'm-
I asked what's 854 plus 1, and the answer is 855. But you could think as if it would be 846. Yep.
Gotcha.
You could also think of it as 846 if you'd like.
Yeah.
Very good.
You know, it's like those people who hold their hands on the shoulder and make like the snake, right? Walk around, and it's really irresistible to participate.
Sorry,
So
did I just
had to
drop
make the
acid?
joke too.
What did I just drop some acid? What did you say? The people who walk around like snakes?
No,
Sorry.
those people who hold their arms and hands on the person before they hold them on the shoulder, right? And then they walk like they walk in the line and dance. You know those people. Like at the party.
Are you thinking
Like,
of the human centipede? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
something like that. Like, and everyone is happy and walks around, and it's really irresistible to not participate in it. So I had to participate in making.
You mean
George
like a
Musa
conga
jokes
line?
too. Yeah.
Oh,
something like that.
right. So you jumping on the back of the conga line when making
Yeah.
reference to George Musa. I see.
Yeah. Sorry,
You've
I
got
was
to-
expressed really badly, but
No, that's fine.
Don't forget, you got to kick your leg out to the side when you do the conga too.
Yeah.
And go.
And think of it as a force. Hey.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, most jokes have a zinger. We got a zinger.
Yeah.
Anyway, I serve my purpose, and Anthony, just take your time on proving it scientifically. If you want to prove the strong and weak nuclear force too, you're free to do it.
So the one that you're most interested in is the electromagnetic force.
Yeah.
And wasn't the issue to do with how do you manipulate it to prove that it exists?
Yep.
Within scientific method. Right, I got you.
All right. Have a nice day, guys.
Thanks, Inder.
Say no
See
to
you.
gravity, Zinder.
Yeah, I did try. It's pseudoscience anyway,
Yay.
like all other forces too. So yeah.
Thanks,
Have a nice
Inder.
day.
Unless I punch you in the face, that's not a pseudo force, is it?
Oh, come on. No need.
Well, it's not. There's an interaction, a push or a pull.
Anyway. Yes,
I'd
thank
like
you,
to make a
Zinder.
comment about a container. I'm sorry.
Got Right the Hand on Discord. How you doing, Right the Hand? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Good to have you, yeah. We can actually hear Discord today.
Awesome.
Right
I don't know if
there.
you've seen. I posted a link in the Discord. Some guy explained how you figure out air pressure gradient in a large container, complete with the formulas, with humidities, dependent. It's a stab in the heart to the people that are like, oh, you can't have an air pressure gradient in a container. Well, yes, you can.
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, that's why we know we're in a container, because there is a pressure in the first place and there's a density gradient. That is why we're in a container. What that container is, who knows? But we're definitely inside some kind of construct.
Even before
They'll
all
say
that,
that in
we
time.
have gas pressure. It doesn't even matter about the gradient. We have gas pressure. They have to be in a container.
Oh, I know, but one of their arguments is, oh, but gas pressure gradient disproves the container. I'm like, nope, no, it doesn't.
The quickest response to that. Which comes first? Gas pressure or gas pressure gradient?
Oh, I know.
I think we can at least.
They'll still tell you gas pressure gradient. They'll hear it, it'll process, they'll forget it, and they'll say a gas pressure gradient.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying you would say to them words to that effect, and the reply would be, no, gas pressure gradient.
Exactly.
I see. Yes, we are dealing with Mongols. That's correct.
So
Does
you
sound
have
like
to,
that, too.
no matter where they try and run, you got to put a wall in front of them. And they hit it and bounce back. And then you just got to keep doing that, and hopefully they land on flat Earth.
Mentally, it's probably quite exhausting to be a globehead.
Hey, I think
Yeah,
we
it's
can
the same
determine the
thing.
nature of the container a little bit anyway.
Oh,
Are you guys, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, Paul.
It would. I'm making sure. It would have to be denser than the gas, no matter what. the container has to be denser than the gas. Example, I've just boiled some water on my stove. Well, the water vapor or gas is less dense than the water. So in a sense, the water itself creates the container and it rises up. So no matter what, whatever's containing the gas has to be denser than the gas. That's all. I just thought of a nature of the container. That's all. Still don't know what it is.
Well, all this talk about container,
I think that's a good point.
It's the necessary antecedent, correct? However, we're basically arguing about open versus closed. So in terms of the fact that we have gas pressure, that dictates that we're in a closed system. To have gas pressure means it's closed. The rhetoric is an open system. It's just as simple as that. The rhetoric of an open system is complete nonsense. You can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum. And the necessary antecedent to have gas pressure is a container. So therefore, closed system. Simple as that. I like when they argue for a closed system. I like when they're describing things like Coriolis. It needs to be described in a closed system, right? You can't have the gas whipping by the vacuum at 66,000 miles an hour or whatever ludicrous speed. It all must be described as though it's in a closed system. You're like, but it's an open system in your rhetoric. No, but for the purposes of this demonstration, we will assume it's closed.
Not according to Bill Nye.
Bill Nye says it's
came out and
closed.
said, "Oh, it's a closed system. Can't leave the Earth." And I'm looking
in
at
that
the screen
context,
like, wait a minute.
In that context, he was referencing rubbish.
Hold on one second. We've got a new caller. How you doing? I can't read that writing. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to try to read that.
He jumped in and dropped immediately.
Like it, yeah.
Is anybody in the back chat?
Yeah, I jumped in. Somebody already took care of him. He's gone.
Okay.
Any sign of that missing footage, Tony?
Missing footage? What are you on about?
So, Fight the Flat Earth has obviously edited his video with George Musa. Some blatant edits. Several people have highlighted it. Anthony did a full video about it yesterday. Obviously, his memory is only about 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, he's ignoring me at the minute. It's as if he's vanished. Not saying wishful thinking, but yeah, he seems to be ignoring me at the minute. He's normally really on top with my messages. He normally responds within minutes. He doesn't even seem to sleep. It's as if he's got people working for him, dare I say it.
Do you find it? Did you actually publish the comment that he made in response to somebody when they challenged him about the missing footage?
Yeah, I published that. Yeah.
So what did you publish?
The message from that bloke that you told me to. I read it.
Yeah. What about his response?
I read that too. He blamed it on an upload from YouTube.
He did. He sure as hell did.
But he told me that there wasn't a cut there, and then he said there was a cut there. It was just Musa repeating back the question and then answering it. So he snipped that bit out. I don't believe him. I think he's lying. I think that Musa said something that didn't support his position, and that's why he's cut it out.
That's okay.
But I'm sure he'd love to prove me wrong by demonstrating it, by showing it, but doesn't seem to want to do that.
If he's made a claim that it's the same thing but being repeated, just demonstrate that then. Just show us the cut out bit, unedited, and then that'll back what you claim it is. Easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see any reason why.
Timing the edit is too.
Surely he'd want to show that I'm wrong, wouldn't he? Because I mean, he's dedicated a week of his life on me. I mean, I'm flattered, but prove me wrong, bitch. Let's see that cut.
Say again, right the hand.
I do video editing, so if you
nobody listens to me anymore. Just people just waiting for their turn to talk. Go ahead, right the hand. Everyone else just completely ignore me. I would.
Sorry. I was just saying that the timing of the edit's very suspect. It comes right after where he says gravity's not a force. I'm sure he was probably reiterating how it's not a physical, tangible force, and that's what he cut out.
But the creepy thing about it is that what's his name, Craig, is sat in almost the identical position as if no time has passed and he's just done a full stop and he's removed like a slither, or he's realised that he has to cut that bit out and he's freeze framed himself, knowing that there's going to be a cut.
Can you present my screen, Nathan?
I did. It is.
Oh right, it's his response. So Carl Browning picked this up, And he basically says, hey, fight the flat earth. Better have a look at 1410, which is the part that's clipped. I see a glitch, but I don't think anything's missing in the audio. For your information, you may end up rendering and uploading a bit again to compare. And he's put his response, yeah, you're right. It seems YouTube was the problem, as the files I uploaded don't contain that. Have you ever heard anything so ridiculous?
However, that contradicts what he told me. He told me in my message that there wasn't a cut. Then he said that there was a cut, but Musa was repeating himself, so he just deleted that bit out. And then he said, I'll show you it on the Hangout later. And he never showed us.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I've never uploaded a video that's had anything missing. Videos don't render if you have things missing. They have to be uploaded.
Sorry, 1 second. We've got a new guest that keeps joining. Is anybody keeping an eye?
I'm going to do it. I wasn't doing it. Oops.
Have we lost Ranty? Oh, great. We're going to lose half the panel. Yeah, lost the entire panel. Wonderful, wonderful. New hangout. If you, hey Arwin, I'm just going to start a new hangout if you can hear me. This should be the work of but a moment. Could open the Discord chat, couldn't I? Let's get Phil off server mute. Can you guys hear me in Discord still?
Yep, we hear you.
Oh, well, that's good. That stops it being complete dead air while I sort out a new hangout. Happy days.
Yeah, it's working. Can you hear me over here?
Yeah, everything's good. It'll just take me 2 minutes to get a new hangout set up.
Could you just explain what a back chat is? I don't know what that is.
No, I can't. I can tell you when we're off air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I could tell you right at the hand if you want to, like off the air some other time.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I didn't know it was a thing like that. I thought it was just like, oh, you have your like front panel, and then like a back panel of like listeners or something. I don't.
Sort of. There's a bit more to it than that, and it's just certain details. If we give it away, it'll. I've already said too much.
No, yeah, I hear you. I like remaining computer illiterate. Like my girlfriend's really good at it. So as long as one person is, I just wish I could like do stream and upload videos and stuff, but whatever.
Okay, I think we're pretty much there with a link. So I'll stick this out on Skype first. Screen back onto the Hangouts page. Okay, so if you're watching this on and you're part of one of the Skype servers, then there's the link.
You there, Nathan?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, I just joined on Discord.
Okay. Hopefully we'll still get a few people back in the Hangout.
You want me to go back in the Hangout?
Yeah, ideally.
Okay.
Hi, Anthony. Yeah, you've got a phone call. I'm glad this didn't happen at the beginning of the show. Hey, Arwin. Hey, 10th man again.
Hi, back here.
So what were we talking about again? Make sure you're on mute in the Discord. Make sure you're on mute in the... Hold on, guys. Make sure you're on mute in the Discord server there if you're going to stay in there, 10th man.
No, I'm out of Discord.
Oh, are you? Oh, okay. Still showing you in there.
Oh, I'll go check.
Cool. So where were we? What the hell were we talking about?
Weren't we talking about Fight the Flat Earth not revealing his video?
Oh, yes. Edits and such. So why give so many different stories? Why not immediately just say, yeah, it was edited when asked? I don't get it.
Well, I mean, it's edited at a time that makes it suspicious. So it's not just the fact that it's a cut; it's more the fact of the timing of it. It's like, what's he cut out, and we need to see it. So please produce it. He's never going to do it though.
I mean, I don't
Tony,
think it's...
can you put the link in the side chat so I can have a look? Because I do video editing for work, so I'll be able to tell you straight away.
Oh, we're certain it's been edited. Yeah, we're absolutely certain. You know, there is no doubt about it. But it's not that whether or not it's been edited. It's the aftermath. It's if he says no, it hasn't been. Oh yes, it has. Well, actually, it's a YouTube glitch. It's like, why the 3 stories?
Well, it's obviously that he's lying. That's the first thing, and then the thing is, well, why is he lying? What's he hiding? He's hiding something. So if you want to see the link, who was it that asked for it?
Mind what?
I just put it in the Discord forum to come to.
Mind what? It's there in the chat. It's 14 minutes and 10 seconds. I think.
I'll have a look now. 14 minutes and 10 seconds.
Roughly, it's Craig says something. He asks him a question. His next words out of his mouth are, "Gravity is not a force." Cut. But watch for the cut on Musa, because originally Craig said it was only Musa that cut. Craig didn't cut. Then he said, "Oh yeah," he was repeating his question, and then he said, "It was something to do with an upload." But he's given 3 versions there of one event, and it's like, something's a bit sus. What was the other line?
All right, leave it with
and
me.
Craig's head, you can see it switch. It twitches from like a edit.
Yeah, they both twitch, but Craig's in suspiciously the same position almost, but it is clearly a cut. And I can't help but look at his boobs.
The other thing too, it was right when he was addressing your it was like, Anthony said that gravity is not a force. How do you want to respond to that? Then he said gravity is not a force, edit, and then another explanation, and then more words. So that's why it's so suspect.
I think he's cut it so that, and then re-put it back in at the point where it becomes blurred. So, in other words, to make it look like it was a dropout, but they both cut, so it's not a dropout. We need to bully him into submission here on this, because I want to see it. I'm curious what not just because of him being a dick, but because I want to see, I want to see the position. I want to see what he said.
Anthony, the cut is not a cut, but you can think of it as a cut.
Yeah.
Nah, it's actually a cut. We don't even have to think about it like that. That's not bullshit. It's a cut.
Yeah,
and based on the conversation they were having, he could have cut out 5 minutes and you wouldn't know it.
Yeah, he could have cut out 5 seconds or 5 minutes, and it might have been devastating. He might have been explaining how I was actually correct, and he's cut it all out. But I mean, listen, you can test this yourself. Try and find a consistent story for what gravity is, and you will find loads of variations on 2 different themes. Some of them say it's a mass attracting mass. Some of them say it's the bending of space-time. But then try and find out what the interaction between mass attracting mass and bending of space-time is, and you'll realize that one did supersede the other. It wasn't the way Craig said. So I want to know, what did he say after it? Because I bet you it pisses all over his argument.
Whether he cut it or not.
You're also going to find the aberration, maybe.
Whether he edited it or not doesn't matter. That whole show destroyed everything that they stand for.
Yeah.
Exactly. We don't really...
how much more devastating could it get? The first line was gravity is not a force.
Exactly.
So...
We don't need any more. We don't need the extra bit. It's just interesting that he's edited something out and then lied about it. That's just interesting. But yeah, you're right. We don't need anything further to what he's already said. He's already given us all we need.
So we can conclude almost the only thing that would be worthy of editing out would be a direct admission that Anthony was right.
Well, yeah, or something that's very, very close to a direct admission.
And given that he's not given us the original, we're just going to assert that that's exactly what it is. So it's just him editing out the bit where George Musa said, yeah, Anthony's absolutely right and you're wrong, Craig. That's probably what he's edited out, and that's what we'll assume has been edited out. Right, guys?
Yeah. Yes.
Looking at it, I don't know. It's if that's been edited out, he could have put a effect on there, like a bandwidth effect through After Effects. I don't know what he edits with, but you can put effects in like that. But I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Hard to tell that there was a cut. You're joking, aren't you?
No, it's either a bandwidth or a cut. But if it's a cut, then it is. There's a. You see how it goes fuzzy there? Like it's almost like a bandwidth thing.
Yeah, that could
Hang on,
explain
hang
it.
on, hold on. One of the stories is he repeated himself and I had to edit it. That's the story. So, okay, Craig submitted that it's edited. Okay.
So if he's edited that, then what it looks like he may have done, like I'm just saying, I don't know the guy, but it looks like he has done a cut, and to make it look like less of a cut, is added an effect in there, so it looks like an upload, you know, fart has happened, basically a bit of an upload.
I
bandwidth
see.
effect.
So what you're saying is there's something in there further to the cut in terms of the way that the transition happens that's an effect to make it seem like it's a glitch, an upload glitch, or a stutter in Skype.
Exactly.
Wow,
So hence, that gets to the bottom
super
of why we've got several stories. One of them being it's a glitch, one of them being that it's an edit. Oh, because it's an edit.
You just need,
with a glitch.
If he's edited with After Effects, yeah, there's glitch effects, you know, things like that. So he could have cut and then done a before and after glitch effect, or
it won't be
a genuine. Yeah, I don't know.
It won't
I'm
be
just
him.
giving you my opinion.
No, it won't be him. It'll be his production manager, an editor.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's just my point of view. But yeah, I don't know. That's just, you know, working with After Effects, it's pretty easy to do that kind of stuff.
I mean, it makes sense. The whole video is not like glitchy and bouncing in and out.
Except where the damaging truth is just by coincidence when there's a very damaging statement being made, then it happens to glitch out / be edited / be a YouTube glitch.
Well, yeah, if you were going to cut something and you didn't want people to know that you cut it. Sorry, my son's screaming in the background there. Don't know if you can hear him. But if you wanted to cut it out and make it look like it wasn't a cut, then you just put a glitch effect in there and just say, oh, sorry, it was when it uploaded. There must have been an upload issue.
So just by coincidence, exactly what he did say then.
Usually upload issues end up in the entire file being corrupted.
Yeah, I found that.
Oh, well.
It either goes up exactly as it was or it doesn't.
Yeah, when I upload, my whole files go up in high def. I never have an issue. They go up exactly as I've put them up.
Yeah, I can't think of a single instance where I've uploaded a video and I have literally uploaded thousands where they haven't been precisely what I've uploaded in the first instance, or they get corrupted and you have to do it again.
Exactly.
I had that twice yesterday, actually. 2 videos that I tried to upload, both were corrupted. Just coincidence, but, you know, it has happened. They just didn't render. So now I've got 2 videos that say, I can't remember what the message is, corrupted video or did not render or something like that. And then immediately after, exactly the same thing happened. And then I tried a 3rd time and it worked.
What format do you upload in?
MP4?
You try uploading in AVC or H.264.
Well,
which,
yeah, I suppose I could do.
That's the best, hey? That'll give you the best upload.
It's not. I'm not actually aiming for quality. It's time. So OBS is set up so that as soon as the recording finishes, it takes it out of whatever file format that can survive a crash. So I don't lose. I've lost a couple of shows that way when I was doing it straight to MP4. You know, your computer crashes and then it just doesn't finalize the MP4 recording and you lose it entirely. But after it does it, it remuxes the recording and then gives you an MP4 straight away. In other words, I don't have to do anything. It just does it automatically.
Yeah.
But if that's got a, what's the number, H24, whatever it is, I'll have a look and see if it can remux it into that without me doing anything, because I haven't got time to.
So what I do when I make my files, I make an MP4 version that I can use on all other things. But then when I upload onto YouTube, I use AVC or H.264, which is just like better for uploads.
Is it quicker? Does it reduce the upload time?
It's pretty much the same, but it's just a better stable online video format.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All I'm
Getting
looking
all
for is
technical.
speed.
Yeah.
It's the least amount of time, because I finished the show and probably sat at the computer for easily 2 hours. Normally with the conversations, you guys on the panel know you're all chatting away and I'm busy, and occasionally I'll forget to knock off my screen share and people will see what I'm doing for literally a couple of hours after the show finishes. So anything that can save time, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Well, if you're meaning like other files the same size, they're pretty much the same size, so they'll upload at the same speed.
Right. Yeah. No benefit.
Yeah. You just get a better end quality.
Sure. I mean, for a gamer or something, that might be critical, or if you've got really high resolution images like you and Ranty do, then I can totally appreciate that. But on this show, yeah,
I was just more thinking
good,
if you got a glitch effect and people thought you might have cut things out, you know.
Yeah, right. I've seen glitches while stuff's being played out live. That definitely happens. But you know, if it's glitching during the live stream, then it records it that way. You know what I mean? So you can have to.
It's live rendering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's due to bandwidth.
Yeah, or whatever the issue is. But you know, if you're recording on your computer at the same time, you can have a discrepancy between your recording and what was actually streamed that then saves to YouTube. You can compare them and see that, you know, there's stuff that's glitched out on the YouTube stream that is there on your recording.
Yeah. So, but okay, so looking at it like that, then is that a live stream that he was showing? Because it looks like it might have possibly been a live stream.
No, but he made it look like one.
Okay,
but you can think of it as a live stream.
But the fact that you've done that though is sneaky.
He had like a ticker thing across the top, right?
Yeah, making it look like it was a live hangout.
Wasn't Muser like really close to the screen? I feel like he might have cut and zoomed in, you know, to make his editing easier. So if you have a dynamic background, your cuts are harder. That's why I think I think this is going deeper. Like when he was like, "Yo, he's got editing team." I think we might be like looking at something a little bigger than just some guy somewhere trying to prove a baller stuff. This might be like, you know, controlled or pushed, and that's how George Muser was able to get on. That's why George Muser's face was so zoomed in. Like this is all part of a plan.
Why would his background be dynamic? He's just inside, isn't he?
Well, but like if you have shoulders, hands moving, you know, when you go to edit, the hands will be in a different place. If you have just his head, it's easier to line it up with the cuts and make it look like you not move. That's why Fight the Flat Earth, when you watch him, he sits almost motionless when he talks. His hands are at his side. I think he does that to make the cuts easier.
Yeah, I think that's why he's done it as well.
Yeah, I said that, didn't I? That was the first thing I noted to Anthony, actually. Right the hand. That was literally the first thing I said.
I didn't hear you say that. So we're just coming to the same conclusion based on what we see.
Yeah, he just sat perfectly still, and it's like, that's suspiciously uncomfortably still to be sat during an interview, not, you know, practically not blinking.
Yeah, I thought that yesterday too. After I watched that cut a few times, I thought the same thing. Like maybe he's doing that purposely. Maybe he's just that good.
So what's the deal with that George guy? Because I see him in a little side chat there, and he talks big.
We're talking across purposes. There's two Georges, George Netanyahu and George Muser.
All right, okay. I don't know which one's which.
Yeah, George Muser's the one we're referring to now. He's an astrophysicist. Calculated the convection currents on Venus. That's his claim to fame. Total pseudoscientist.
He also wrote a book.
Go on, right hand.
Do we know he's an author of The Complete Idiot's Guide to something?
What, to convection currents on Venus? An Idiot's Guide to Convection Currents on Venus.
It's string theory, but still, like, I think it's ironic that he's associated with something that has complete idiot in its name. Because when you think about the wording, it says a complete idiot's guide to string theory. So he is the complete idiot, and he's giving you the guide.
Yeah.
Maybe the people who are above him.
Wouldn't you have to go to Venus to test that?
Yes.
Yeah. And even then, you've got to start drilling holes and stuff, because how are you going to measure convection currents without having to see the convection? Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to guess it?
Shout out to James Richard for the super chat. Thank you very much indeed for your support. Really appreciate it.
I wonder whether he considers that to be science, or whether he accepts that it's theoretical physics and therefore has no application in real world whatsoever.
Shout out to No Proof. Thank you also for the super chat. Or what you like, it will go away. Ballers obviously like this show. That's good. Indeed.
I was on TFR radio this morning with the lads over at Iron Realm Media, and we were talking about this scenario with Fight the Flat Earth and what his motives might be. And we haven't got any reason for why he would be here. It's almost as if he's here as the jester, you know, like to try and make friends by being a Burke. Because he's clearly not here for the truth. He's here to try and ridicule at all costs, no matter how stupid it makes him look. And it's like, what is his motive? Why would you be this way? Like, presumably he's getting paid by somebody, but I mean, it's speculation, sure, but he's not. He's not behaving like a normal bloke that believes that the Earth's a ball. He's behaving like somebody that knows it's not a ball that's getting paid to push it.
The videos are pretty like clean and crisp. They look professional. Maybe he's here just to make videos to make money.
Well, he got a thingy, didn't he? A GoFundMe thing set up for a campaign.
He has several different shows, so he's just a professional guy. But I treated it on my show as a subject. I don't think he has his real heart in it. So things just seem so, like he's not really into it. Do you get that?
He seems like he seems like a wackadoo. That's what he seems like.
What's a wackadoo?
Bandwagon.
A whack-a-mole.
No, wackadoo, he said.
I think he means whack-a-mole.
Just like a nutbag. He seems very off for some reason. I don't know. There's something wrong with that guy.
Who are we talking about?
Craig.
Oh.
Well, maybe he's on some kind of medication or something. I don't know.
I think George Musa should go to NASA and say he figured out the so-called Van Allen belts because he went to Venus to measure something.
Oh, sorry, wasn't that made clear? Oh, he's a pseudoscientist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the point is that it's all mathematical and Narnia stuff in his head, because for him to do whatever convection on Venus is, he can't do it from here.
No, they just make up a little story.
Yeah, but people buy it because there's all the programming of outer space and all this. So it's so silly to say, wait a minute, what did you use, Mr. Muser, to figure out convection on Venus? And how did you get there? And how did you experiment to know if it was true or not? No one asked these questions.
Imagination.
He won an award for planetary sciences.
He got an award for something?
For planetary sciences, whatever that is.
Oh, well, that makes total sense. Someone from Pluto gave him an award.
He doesn't have real credentials. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to like bash the guy, but like he didn't go anywhere. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't performed any experiments. He just has some he's just basically somebody who's fantasizing the same dream that the ballers are. And he just picked one particular facet of that dream, Venus or whatever it is, and started really making stuff up about it. And people are like, wow, look at him go.
Yeah, I think you're right, because the key point in the whole interview was his love affair with the word magical. What true scientist uses words like magic?
The American Institute of Physics gave him an award for his work in physics based on his planetary physics.
In a few moments, we're gonna
Star Wars people the awards for having PhD.
Say that again.
I guess we should give people that wrote Star Wars PhD.
Well, yeah, there's only a very fine line between pseudoscience astrophysicists' declarations and the declarations of people like George Lucas. You're absolutely right. There's a very fine line between the two.
Yeah, I was talking about that with somebody before. Like, if you look at how close science fiction, quote unquote, lines up with what they say science outer space is, you know, it's like you kind of see the same things here and there.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I covered right at the beginning of my journey through Flat Earth. Predictive programming, right? That's all it is. It's keeping the priesthood's rhetoric prevalent in the minds of many. So the stories that are being told at the talkies or at the pictures or whatever, they're going to be in line with the rhetoric. You know, these people are part of that system. That's why I say TV is the devil.
Yeah, it's like the movie Interstellar with the black hole and the guy folding the paper and saying this is the bending of time space. It's right there in the movie, and this is all the crap that they're telling us it's real. So they make up all this crap, then they get together and have a crap awards, and then they give themselves who made up the best crap an award.
Yeah. Event Horizon.
Also pretty funny, right? In that movie, didn't they mention that the moon landings were fake?
Yeah, they did that in the
And they told Matthew
negative,
McConaughey
positive way.
and he's just looking at them. What do you mean they're fake? They're in the books. No, it can't be fake.
Subtle.
So I'm going to shortly round out this live stream, but before I do, not just yet, I'm just going to do a quick shout out. So Jaron dropped me a line and said, presumably because he'd watched yesterday's show, and I'd shouted out a few people that I've been watching. So he's got in touch and said, I'm watching these people at the minute, and they are called Flat Reality Earth Explorers. So I have put a link to their channel in the info box. I haven't actually checked them out yet. I've watched the first few minutes of their most recent video just to get a vague idea what they're about. But yeah, go and check them out. As I say, there's a link in the info box, and this has been recommended by Jaronism. Another shout out to James Richard. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really do appreciate your support.
Oh, and yeah, the reason Jaron wants you to subscribe there as well is that they'll be doing a live test on Saturday, I believe it is. So they'll be doing a mirror test with Jaron down at the Salton Sea.
Probably did tell me that, but when I saw the message with very sleepy eyes, I probably didn't take that in. Cool. I'll go and reread his message. It could be quite a detailed message. It's because he was quite vague. He said, we will be at the Salton Sea this weekend for an observation. So he means him and them. Okay, yeah, that does make sense now. So before Jaron started chatting them out, apparently they had less than 1,000 subscribers. So good for them. I hope they do well. And I hope their test goes well. More power to you.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spam the link to them in the chat right now, and you know, hopefully some people, when you round out, will head on over there and subscribe.
Absolutely. So if you're in the live stream right now, go to their channel. There's either a link in the info box, or Ranty will spam the chat with it as we speak, as he has got mod status in Nathan Oakley channel. I think with that, I'll actually say, unfortunately, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley live stream, this is where we bid you farewell. However, if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. A massive thank you to everybody who made this live debate possible. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum. Stay tuned if you're watching on 1980. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Hello, Jessica.
What's up, Jess?
Nothing much. I'm kind of frustrated the past few days, but yeah. I don't know, like no, I've been frustrated for the past few days because I might just like because Discord has been getting on my nerves. Like I've been literally debating people, and it's just been kind of I think I just need to stop.
I warned you.
Yeah, it's really, really, it's just they'll literally make you feel like you don't know what you're talking about when you do. It's really frustrating.
Hey, Betty, can you hear us? Nah, maybe she's just come to listen. People do that in the Discord server. They come in and they listen. They don't actually interact, but they want to be part of the show. It's weird.
Hey, Randy, I was just wondering because
it's actually. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. No, I was saying that. No, I was saying that when you join Discord, I tried to join Discord the other day. Like, no one in Discord can actually hear the show, or some people can hear it and some people can't. It's something
that's been
going on
solved.
with this.
That's been sorted. So what had actually happened was there was an issue with. This is going to be a fairly long story. I'll try and keep it brief. So Hangout stopped working, and what Hangout said to do was to reset Google Chrome, which is precisely what I did. I just reset it, got rid of all the cookies and everything else, which meant that a lot of settings got lost, one of them being Discord. So when Discord started back up, it defaulted to the first microphone on the list, which was my webcam mic. So that was quite embarrassing because I came in after setting up the show and my desk had stopped working. I couldn't see a VU meter dancing, which tells me the mic just needs resetting. So I had to crawl behind the sofa, get behind the computer, unconnect it. But while I'm doing it, John's saying, breaker, breaker, 1, 2, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And I'm trying to reach this stupid USB cable in the dark, blind, and you can't see behind the PC. And he's saying, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? While I'm trying to do this. And eventually I'm like, yeah, I can fucking hear you. Shut up. Right. Not realizing that it's my webcam actually connected so he can hear me. You know, so I've said that assuming that my mic's not working. I've just pulled out the USB socket. So as far as I'm concerned, he's not going to hear me. But he can because it's the webcam mic. So the whole show, that whole Ballbusters ran with the mic from my webcam. So for example, when the live show finished, I put myself on mute like I do, and then went and said to my wife, "I'm finished. I'm just into the after show now. How's everything going? Do you want a drink?" And as soon as I went in, my kids started screaming. Now in the Discord server, everyone could hear that because I haven't muted the webcam mic. They just hear everything. So they can hear her screaming, but it doesn't come through on the broadcast. So after the fact, I'm like, what's going on? Why are they moaning at me when I've muted myself? Why can they still hear me? And then I went through all the settings and just found that it was on the wrong mic. But now it goes to the desk. So now in Discord, everyone who's in there now, it's as clear to them as it would be on the broadcast.
Oh yeah, my gosh. Wow, that's pretty bad.
It was sorted, but as I say, before I reset all the cookies when there was an issue with Hangouts, it was all set in the first instance. It all worked, but it's just one of those.
Okay.
If you don't know that you've got to keep your eye on certain settings, should you reset stuff, which seems obvious, you just don't know. And there's about 25 things to set up for each show, which there is.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that that's sorted out, but that's
I am. It's little problems like that become quite stressful quite quickly because it is quite a complicated show now. It's got increasingly more complicated as time has gone by.
Yeah, but it's expanding, so that's good too. So.
Well, we managed to get that channel 12 subscribers, which isn't good. It isn't too bad.
Good stuff.
It is.
Yep. Congrats.
Yeah, I'm all for this shouting each other out. I mean, that's the only way any of us are going to grow from this point on. If you do searches for any of the subjects, even if you've got tags and title exact to what you type in, your video still won't come up in YouTube searches. So that means the only way to grow as a YouTuber in this subject arena is to shout each other out as YouTubers. So it's like, if you disagree on a subject matter, you've got to understand that that's going to stagnate us as a whole, as a group. Now, there's a lot of people, I'm part of a group. Well, you are. You're labelled part of that group, whether you like it or not, if you understand that you've been lied to about a sphere world that we don't live on. So it's tough luck if you don't think you're part of that group. You are. So in that respect, on YouTube, we should be a bit more cohesive and shout each other out a bit more. Otherwise, we'll just stagnate and die on this platform. That's what will happen if we're not growing by virtue of us pushing ourselves. Grassroots, basically. You've got to promote yourself. And you can't promote yourself. You've got to promote others. And hope people will pay it forward and promote you. So that's what I'm intending to do. Hence, I'm all keen when Jaron got in touch. Can you promote these people? Yeah, absolutely I can. Great. Plus, it means I get to hear about somebody. I didn't know about them. I wasn't subscribed. Now I am. It's like, great. The more people I'm subscribed to, the better. I'm always looking for new content.
I can't complain either, because since I went on the show, not 36 hours ago, I've had 370 new subscribers. That's amazing.
Yeah, I did similar when I went on Jeronism's channel. I gained about 500 subscribers. Just like massive growth.
How did the Rantiathon go?
Still not managed to get it yet. Still behind.
How much have you got left to go?
About £400.
Okay. I've been away for a while, so I didn't know how it went. So what was your ultimate goal?
Target, about 1400. Yeah, 1429.
Is that for a Mavic Pro or the Pro 2?
Pro 2 with the controller.
Yep. Oh, they come with the controller, but what's your height restriction over there? How high can you fly?
No idea.
Because over here in Australia, I think it's 250 meters.
Any chance you can put some footage up, Mind Warped, while you're having this conversation?
What was that, sorry?
Any chance you can put some of your footage up while you're having this conversation with Ranty about drones?
Sure. Yep.
Epic. Thank you.
Yay, drones.
Yeah, I was just thinking it'd be interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Who said that? Who said that? Who said yay drones? Because what I was thinking, just as I went on mute, I thought yay drones, and then someone said it.
Yeah, that was me. I can read your thoughts.
Epic.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, guys, completely talking all over you because we're excited about drone footage.
That's all good.
What was the drone height in Australia? The max height?
I think it's 250 meters. It might be. I can't remember. Hey,
it's 400 feet here.
400
only
feet.
400 feet here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bro, that's like 125 meters or 130 meters.
Wow, that's not very high. Yeah.
Yeah, not at all.
So pretty much, if you want to make a good observation, you've got to fly above the restrictions.
I wouldn't be bragging about that though.
Yeah, no, I haven't done that, but yeah, I always, because I've got my license and everything like that, because I fly professionally. You know, there are restrictions that I keep to, but like if you're wanting to actually go and do a lot of the decent observations, it's kind of, yeah, if you're gonna stick to those guidelines, it's kind of hard. That's why if you look at my videos, I've gone a limit reach and then I come back down because I've hit my like altitude and I can't go any higher.
Right. Silence is golden.
They're actually making it over here that everyone has to get a license as well. Like you have to pay a $60 licensing fee now, so you have to register your drones. And so there's a funny little meme going around with like a car number plate stuck on the back of your drones.
They'll tax you on anything, won't they? If they could tax you on the air you breathe, they would do.
I don't know if you've tried to share screens or if you're just searching at the minute.
Wait, have you seen? Wait, I'm sorry. Ranty, with that statement you just said, have you seen the Lorax?
Seen who?
Have you seen the Lorax?
No.
Okay, so
the Lorax is awesome. How can you not have seen that?
Yeah, it's a wonderful movie. But like you just said, if they could tax the air, they would. In that movie, they literally people had to pay for air.
Wow.
Like they had there was an entire system set up where like people had to pay because the land that they were in before had gotten heavily polluted, purposely, of course. So
we have. Are you talking about? We have that already. We were already taxed on our air. Carbon tax. That happens already.
Carbon tax. Yeah. But I think in Europe as well, there's actually bars where you can actually go up to the bar and instead of getting a drink, you get a can of like pure oxygen and a mask. And you walk around and like get high. So you're kind of like paying for oxygen.
Oh, is that like in Tokyo?
Yeah, like the guy in Guns N' Roses.
That's like
right?
in Spaceballs with Perrier.
No. Axl Rose used to do that. I'm sure of it. He used to go off stage and just have a hit from an oxygen tank to get high.
I'm so high right now on air.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe that's why we're all,
got
everyone was happier back in the day. The air was cleaner.
But if you think about it, if you think about how heavily taxed we are, if you had a decent job here and you're paying 50%, I suppose you pay 50% tax on your wages, and then when you come home, you go and buy some clothing or something like that, or even put fuel in your car. It's all taxed. You know, everything's taxed. It's tax everywhere you go. Tax for your house, everything. You know, suddenly if you worked it all out, I would imagine probably 90% of your earnings are taxed, or they take it as tax.
Yeah, well, in Australia, we've got. Do you have GST over there? Goods and services tax.
Yes, we have it. It's called value added tax here, VAT. But yes, we do.
Okay. Yeah, so we've got that here, and there's talk of them bringing it in up to 15%. It's currently 10%. And then quietly, I think a couple of years ago, they were trying to bring up not like an income tax, but a tax on when you transfer money from one bank account to another. So say I run a business. So say when a client pays me, I pay the 10% GST, but then when I go to pay my staff, I pay their pay-as-you-go tax. But then because I've transferred money from my account to their account, there's a tax on the transfer. And then every time, say if they wanted to pay their rent, then that money would get taxed when it went from their account to the real estate account or whatever. So it's just tax and tax on tax. It's just ridiculous, man. Eh?
Yeah.
Like,
and then to actually go and drive anywhere, you're paying tax on your petrol, tax on your car, your road tax. If you go to town, you buy
duty.
I don't quite know how this show has transitioned from flat Earth debate to grumpy old men, but it definitely has.
Sorry.
I'm still waiting for the drone footage. I'm getting taxed.
Okay, so I got carried away with tax. I'll put it up now. Sorry.
Quantum Eraser isn't here. So Quantum Eraser isn't here, so if somebody's got to be grumpy.
Yes, I am.
Oh no! Oh no!
I knew he was gonna pipe up as soon as you.
A classic.
Johnny
Huey is not-
Globehead, what's up, man?
Johnny Globehead is not grumpy. He's narrow.
Johnny Globehead's like that crazy uncle that'll come and slap you in the back of the head. Hey, punk, what's going on? That's what I see him as.
Yeah.
That's only because you talk all over him.
That's all right.
I listened back to a couple of shows, and it is quite consistent that happens. So I hadn't noticed because obviously you very rarely step all over me, Chocolate, but you consistently step all over Quantum Eraser. I don't know why. It's become amusing.
You mean Vanilla saying an 11th man?
Yeah.
Aha. I did that by talking all over Chocolate saying all the time.
Yeah, it used to be Arwen. Now it's John. That's all good.
Not talking too much now though.
I didn't know you had
the,
to launch the drone.
videos I was watching on.
Sorry, say again. I didn't hear who that was. Someone in Discord.
Did I speak over somebody?
No, you're all good.
I've got the drone footage up.
Just need you to repeat what you said though.
Oh, some of the videos that I saw on exploring the plane. The one of the things that I think was Ranty that pointed out the videos. And one of the things was on the sunset, which brought me to some thought and just thinking about how the globe, saying that it's 98 million miles away, yet when the sun is overhead, you can't really stare. I apologize, my kids woke up. You can't stare at the sun. I mean, for not even a millisecond or whatnot. But yet, when you look at it during sunset, you can practically stare at it, and it wouldn't affect your eyes, really.
Yeah, same at sunrise.
Say that one more time.
Same at sunrise.
Right. So how does it change, right? In their perspective, in their train of view, that you could see it on sunrise and sunset, but yet not while it's overhead, with it being 98 million miles away.
I mean, it doesn't. From what I observe of the sun, it does seem to be like it's coming closer and getting further away. I can't describe it any other way, and there's loads of footage to back that. Now, the comeback from the globers is filters and blah blah blah. It doesn't make any difference if you can look at it when it's coming up and seemingly far away and seem smaller in any capacity. Then what else are you supposed to think?
Couldn't you look at it as though, like, say, when it's overhead, you know, you're only looking straight up. You're not kind of like looking through as much atmosphere. But when it's like kind of at the horizon point, you know, sunrise, sunset, is coming through more of the atmosphere.
Yeah,
You get what I mean?
Absolutely.
Um,
DITRH describes it exactly like that. I can't paraphrase how he described it one time, but he was basically saying it's like a beautiful dance of all of those different elements. And, you know, I'm inclined to agree with him. You know, is it definitive? No, but based on what you just observe, it makes sense. But am I going to declare that the sun is a physical item that's coming closer and getting further up? Well, no, I don't know any of that. That's just how it appears.
I mean, why are all the patents there for like sun simulators and things like that? I mean, what is the need for that?
Because they're simulating our sun right now.
Oh, you
Right.
mean in the sky? Not computer-based ones, but physical simulations of the sun, you mean?
No,
Yeah, well,
I believe
there's,
they
like, sun
have a
simulators, like,
controlled
the-
light in the sky.
Did you one at a time? Right the hand go first, if you like.
I was wrong. I think they have those simulation the things because they actually have an object up in the sky that blocks the sun, gets the energy, and then produces a light. I know
Well, I
it's
was
crazy.
under
I
the,
know, but that's what I
under the
do.
impression that the
Hold
sun
on.
simulator was.
Sorry, just a second. You remember what we went through yesterday, right? Claim, support, cowbell.
Yeah, no, I don't have much. I don't have much support for. That's why I'm not. I don't outright come out and claim this is just you know, a conspiracy that I abide by.
Oh,
But didn't they just come out with something about China saying that they're gonna have Japan something about having a moon, like a second moon or something like that?
Yeah, to illuminate at night. They say it's easy. Then it's easier to just put one big light in the sky than to have all those street lights on. That's what they're saying. So yeah, they have the tech to put a light in the sky. I totally believe, but cannot. You know, I mean, they can put a light. They make light. You know, it's not a stretch to think that they can just put one in the sky.
Makes a lot of sense. Moonlight's great. You know, on a full moon, you can see. Well, you can see loads. Obviously, it's not like daylight, but you can see.
You guys have
Yeah, you
seen
can do
like
work
the
outside.
sun simulator like things though, where it's like all the mirrored panels and then it's like black in the middle. Have you seen that?
Maybe.
Yeah, with like the huge bulbs.
Like, yeah, there's actual patents for sun simulators. So yeah, I don't know. Like maybe I don't know what would be the point. Like, so you know, like what you're saying, you can't prove the distance to the sun. We don't know what the sun is. Like, for all we know, it could have, you know, one of those patents could have been made, and the sun could actually be one of these man-made objects that have been put up. You know, and it's just we're on a flat globe, and there's a big conspiracy, and you know, they're saying we're on a globe, but it's flat, and there's just some sun simulator spinning around.
Hey, Nathan, I just thought of something. Since we're talking about the sun, you know how they push that looming on us?
We're talking about the sun in its apparent position or buildings loomed up beyond the imaginary curve.
I'm talking about both now.
Okay.
Since they're saying there's looming beyond the imaginary curve, every morning, Shouldn't the sun be looming before it actually shows up?
It is in their narrative. Did you not know that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, in their narrative, it's a not actual position due to stellar refraction, I think is what it's called. But in essence, when you see the sunset, they claim in their narrative that you're seeing it projected up from beyond the imaginary curve, exactly like they claim the buildings do, and you're seeing it beyond a visible position. So it's being projected up to create an apparent sun disk that you see set, but the sun itself has actually technically gone. That's their narrative.
So that's the meaning of the not actual. Got it.
Yeah. Well, it's part of it, but yeah.
Pollux.
Again, it's... I'm not claiming to be massively educated in the heliocentric model, but I've got a pretty good idea about what their narrative is. And it helped when it came to this, because some of those things that they explain to you when you hear them for the first time, you kind of, or at least I kind of felt a little uncomfortable. It was the same with a lot of the stuff from Science at NASA, the YouTube, the NASA channel on YouTube, not to be confused with the NASA channel, which is Math Powerland. But yeah, Science at NASA, they would often show things not too dissimilar to what's on screen now, actually. And I'd see it and kind of, it made me cringe. You know, I felt deeply uncomfortable, and normally they'd disclaim it somewhere in the corner of a video like this, you know, artist rendition or simulation or words to that effect that would tell you that it's nonsense. Oh, these are actually people they are actually making that thing, aren't they?
Yeah, it just
yeah,
seems
that's what I'm getting at. This is a patent for a sun simulator, so they've obviously put it in a payload, and then, you know, like, what is this? Like,
what were you going to say
like
after that? What were you going to say after that? So they put it in to a rocket or whatever they're going to do with it. Is this going to be launched into space? Right.
Oh, no, I wasn't actually going to say space. I was going to say like high altitude. Yeah, I don't know what the distance is to the how high up we can go. Like, it could just be a floating, I don't know, stratosphere. I don't know. It's just
the reason I say that is I think a lot of the things that they're claiming go out in these payloads. They might be loaded up to a ship, but one of the very, very first videos I did was about a transitional shot of the shuttle going up. And as far as I could ascertain, it was about either a 1/2 or 1/3 scale model. In other words, there's no payload on it. You know, the fact that they claim that they can fold in a Hubble telescope into that cargo bay is meaningless if what seems to be actually shooting up into the sky is a 1/3 scale model that they probably crash into the ocean. So what actually happens to the payload, obviously we can only speculate. But I would be very, very doubtful that they're even, you know, firing anything up into the sky that they've physically built here on the ground. I mean, there you go, you've got an animation of it doing it. So it's like, well, show us the payload going into the sky. And what they actually show you, as far as I can tell, is a scale model being shot up into the sky off the coast.
exactly. They'll just show you them making it in real life, but then everything else is always CGI. You just need to look at when they launched the Tesla car into space. That was fake as AFA. You know, like also everything just blotted out, and then bang, the car was in space. You know, like, it's just ultimate CGI.
But it's just exactly the same principle, right? They show you making the car, and so therefore you can cement in your mind that the car is real, and therefore you see the car, and the cogs turn in your head and go, well, I see that car, I know the car is real, I know they've made the car, and there it is in space. So obviously space is real. There it is with a car.
Wait, but wasn't there a glitch with that where they basically like open the thing up, and then for a second, like a microsecond, you see what looks like a studio, and then all of a sudden it changes into space?
Well,
I did hear that, yeah.
Might be the case.
Yeah, I saw that.
But again,
it's
like
the other thing is when
it's like the I was just going to say, it's like the clip from George Musa. The fact that there's a section taken out doesn't detract from the overall package that's been presented in the first instance. So yeah, it might be the case that there's some lost clip of them displaying a studio in the background, but it's glaring anyway. You know, I've said this before, when I've talked to people, or when it first came out and I started speaking to people about it, the people who are actually on a globe and believe that wholeheartedly struggled to believe the footage and wanted to disassociate themselves from it, as in they're saying, nah, that's not fake. And I found myself in the unusual position where I'm having to tell a globe head that they must accept it, that is actually their narrative, that it's supposed to be taken as real. And they're arguing with me going, nah, that's a load of old fake nonsense. And I'm having to, as a person who's saying, yeah, look, this stuff is fake, explain to them that no, you've first got to accept it, that it's real for me to tell you that it is fake. You know, really weird arguments about that particular
I know that I've had to do it too. I've had to do it with people sticking to a ball. People don't want to believe that the narrative is we are sticking to a ball and people are sideways, people are upside down, people on different angles. And it's like, I understand that you accept that we are all right side up. I get that. But the problem is the narrative is that's not what it is. They'll tell you it's relativity and all that nonsense. But yeah, I got people living under my feet, upside down from my position, antipodal, and we're supposed to believe that. And then they don't want to believe it. But it's like, that's the ball that we live on. That's what they tell you. Now I got to convince you that that's real so that I can tell you it's fake. I get you.
It's really bizarre, isn't it? Because most not. This is the thing. Most normal people. That's why they've got to pour scorn and ridicule on us. Most average people, when you point out the bullshit, go, "Oh my god," or will be telling you that it looks fake, like is the case with the Tesla car in space. You know, they can't quite comprehend it, and normally they're not really paying attention to it. They'll give it a cursory glance when it's discussed on the news, but they don't give it any real consideration. But as soon as you ask them to give it some sort of consideration, they're the ones telling you it looks fake.
Well, and you just got to look at when they launch their rockets. And you know how they come back down to land? Like every single time, every single launch that I've watched, every single time they come back down to land, they've got those two people that are doing the commentary. They're like, so we've just, the feed's just dropped out. Well, okay, we're going to have to go to the second launch pad. And then, boom, it's there. You don't actually see it land, you know? This is like, we'll cut to the second one where it's actually, you know, already sitting there. So it looks like it's coming to land.
Wait a
exactly.
second, Chocolate.
All the time happens.
Hold on
every
a second.
single time.
Chocolate.
And then not only that, I watched
Chocolate.
every minute of that.
Hold on
video
a second. Hold on a second, Chocolate. You said people were standing on the top of the ball, and then some people were standing on the side, and they explain it with relativity. Hello?
Yeah, well, don't they say
Yeah,
that?
they do.
Yeah, they try to anyway.
Relative and a relativity are not the same thing. You understand that, right?
I might have used
Well,
the
what
wrong
they
word,
say
but
is-
they're telling me that when I say that there are
What they say-
people upside down from my position, they'll say, "Oh, well, they're up right side up relative to the Earth."
Yeah, that's correct.
It's like what?
Yeah, that's correct in their narrative. Hold on, I've got to do this. No, I don't understand. What's the difference between relativity and being relative? I don't understand.
Yes, John.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh well, looks like I'll be forever stupid.
All right, I got interrupted. I got interrupted as soon as you said, ask me the question. My word. Where are we at here? Relativity and relative, right? The theory of relativity, which is a joke. Number one, it's not a scientific theory to begin with, right? Is not relative. Do you understand? Relative and relativity, those are two different things. I'm sure people back before 1915 knew that things were relative to each other. Like they were standing, by a railroad track and a train came by and there was people on the train and they kind of figured out that they were relative to the people on the train. Right? Everyone following this?
I get you.
Yeah, so be careful of the terms that you use. It's not relativity, for crying out loud.
So if relative is you versus somebody on the platform in a train, relative, yeah, I get that bit. So what's the relativity bit then? What's that?
I don't know. Somebody tell me, what is relativity?
It's the label that tags it to Einstein in this outer space model.
Yeah, but vaguely summarise. What does Einstein mean when he says relativity?
Curvature of space-time.
Well, that's curvature of space-time.
Well, yeah, relatively speaking, we are moving because we can't tell that we are moving, but we are moving because the rules of relativity tell us that.
I'm going to have to cut the joining feed, guys. I've got to go, but take it easy.
Cool.
Thank you very much, Mind Warped. Unfortunately, that's where we lose this beautiful footage as well. But thank you for sharing it with us.
No. All good, guys. Take it easy.
What's the difference, though, like, between relativity and relative? Like, if you're upside down relative to me, then, yeah, I'd like to...
Go, sorry, I didn't hear you. Go ahead. Say it again.
What's the difference between them being upside down relative to you or them being upside down relativity to you? Like
Relativity, because it makes no sense grammatically. And what's the theory of relativity? Special and general. Or which one are you talking about first?
Yeah, that we're moving in relation to other bodies of matter.
Special is light. General is momentum, right?
No, we're talking about stuff and how it interacts with one another.
No, it doesn't. It just appears that way.
Basically, it's still either way. It doesn't really. Sorry. But either way, it doesn't really make sense. If you're they're saying that it's relative to your position, but if of course, a sphere, a perfect sphere is even on all sides. But if I'm on the bottom, standing on the bottom of a ball, and someone else standing on the top of that ball, it doesn't make any sense for there not to be a difference in what we're experiencing. If we're if either way the sky is always, but it doesn't make any sense. That's what I'm saying. They say it's relative, but it doesn't make sense. You're positioned on something in the opposite direction or on the side, that still matters. That's still going to vary. There's still going to be a difference in what you're perceiving and what your senses are picking up based on your position. So I don't understand what they're trying to say with that. It doesn't make any sense.
So relativity would be like a general description of their cosmology in relation to how things interact with one another in their idea of what our world is. So it's
that's what it sounds like.
Well, it's like an overarching description as opposed to a simplistic way of comparing one thing to another. So relative and relativity are very different things, although there are, you can understand the lineage of the word relativity when you know what the word relative means, but it doesn't make them the same thing. That's the point.
Well, the point I was trying to get to is when I tell a Glober that right now I supposedly have people living under my feet, antipodal to me, their response is usually something about relativity. They're standing in a position relative to the earth or something. It's always some nonsense. I don't believe any of it. I'm just saying that that's their response. I don't believe people are living antipodal to me under my feet. So that's all I'm saying. Maybe I confused the terms, but
you're talking about the gravitational section of it, aren't you, in terms of general relativity, as I understand.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry, John. Go ahead.
I don't think I can, man.
Are you losing the will to live also?
I open up my mouth, I get stepped on. Every single time, man.
I will shut up now, John. Go for it.
No, go ahead. I'm sick of it.
Well, that's it. We're done. I mean, as far as I can ascertain, we've all been made aware that there's a distinct difference between the two, right? We all understand that. Well, that's encouraging.
I could just imagine somebody telling me, saying, yeah, the people in North America or on the North Pole standing straight up, and the guy on the South Pole, he's antipodal to me because relativity. Yeah, great. That explains it. Thanks, boy. Everything's okay in Shangri-La. Fucking clowns.
But when detailing their description of antipodal positioning on a sphere, you could say the word relative. Relative to me, the guy in the South Pole is antipode. And that's an accurate way of describing their version of bullshit world that they think they live on. But that's not relativity, unless you were to describe what they call the mechanics of gravitation in general relativity and how that's possible. But that's a very different description. These long protracted silences aren't encouraging. I just want to say that.
Yeah, but everybody's petrified of speaking in case John gets offended.
Oh, don't worry about John.
Taxi for John.
Hashtag.
I mean, I do want to say something. What is it like? I just and I kind of understand this, but I just want to get a more of a grasp of like from everyone. Like, what is exact like when they talk about general relativity versus special relativity? Like, what are they like? Like, how are they connecting those two, and how are they related to each other? Just curious.
Well, one speaks directly to gravity and one doesn't. One's speaking to stuff and how they interact, and one's speaking to gravity. So,
And that would be special relativity speaking to gravity, right? Or is that general?
General speaking to gravity.
No, speed
I was
versus. They're talking about time dilation, speed versus gravity. You could just think of it as that. With special relativity, they give you that story of two brothers or two twins, and one's on Andromeda or somebody traveling at the speed of light, and his brother comes back and he's 60 years older. You know, that sort of nonsense. And general relativity speaks to gravity and how it bends and warps time.
I see.
Essentially, that's it. Just go look it up. You can read both of them. They're jokes.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I had a So yeah, it's nonsense basically.
I mean,
like they can't even
From
prove
my
that time
understanding-
dilation is. I'm sorry.
No, they
Was
did
I
that
speaking?
Michelson-Morley experiment where they sent the 2 light waves and they didn't get the results they were expecting. They only got like 1/6 the movement out of one of them. So what they did to match them up to make their model continue to work was basically slow time down so that the light beam can travel the same distance but over a slower period of time. But when you do that, you also have to increase mass so all these things that they just changed to make it fit is basically what they did.
That's not an
I
experiment.
can't believe
Yeah, they warped the data to make the calculations fit.
I can't
not
believe
an-
people
that's not an
actually bought
experiment.
that and accepted it.
That's
Like,
not
it
an
sounds-
experiment. Oh,
It's not an experiment. It's not. I'm just saying that like it's not an experiment. It's just it's not. It's really just them them tweaking around, making some type of observation. It's not an experiment. But even in that, even like what they were doing, and then saying that because they got this result, and then them saying that it's because time slowed down. Because like I don't understand why people actually accepted that and went along with it. I don't understand. It's like it sounds nonsensical.
Because they got a headache halfway through.
You elevate the source.
serious.
You put Einstein on this pedestal after he created the atom bomb and all of this. So when it comes from the source that has been praised as a genius, it might sound ridiculous coming from a bum on the street, but coming from a guy with 7 Nobel Prizes and the world adoring him, yeah, people are going to believe it.
Whoa. What? What did you say?
Yeah, that's how they do it.
Einstein didn't create no atom bomb, and he definitely didn't receive any 7 Nobel Prizes. The hell are you
I'm
talking
saying
about?
in general, like Einstein is thought of as the smartest man to ever live. That is not a disputable fact. You Google and smart him and Stephen Hawking. That's the
Being
thing.
promoted through propaganda. It's not.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what you said. 7 Nobel Prizes.
No,
and
I was talking in a sarcastic New York kind of
Like
way.
you were
I wasn't
exaggerating,
being-
over embellishing.
Yeah, don't take
exactly.
everything
Making
everybody
shit
says
up
so literally. man.
because he didn't have any. What atomic bomb? Einstein made an atomic bomb? Really? Post a
No, he
video.
was either working on the Manhattan Project. A lot of that is asserted too. I'm just talking about what they believe. This is what they put a show in front of you. You're watching a movie, and the character of Albert Einstein, he played the smart guy. That's all it is. So when the smart guy, aka the character that they've created with the storylines that they've pre-manifested, when the smart guy says general relativity explains everything, the masses who are adoring him because of the elevation through the story, they accept it.
Is that true, or you just made that up too?
That's my take on the reality.
Thanks.
I'm pretty sure you're thinking about Slim Pickens, aren't you?
Who?
When it comes to the inventor of the atom bomb? No? Dr. Strangelove?
Dr.
No.
Strangelove.
No, whenever everyone said it except Ant.
oh.
No worries.
I got it.
Sorry. I've never.
No,
yeah, I've never seen.
The question was how do you get people to believe that? And
You forget that quantum eraser is into specifics.
No, but I understand what he was like. I understood why he had to, like address what you were saying. But I got that you weren't meaning literally like he did this and like just that he like him being the smartest man
a persona
that ever
is all it
existed.
is. They created a persona.
The persona, yes.
So this
Right.
conversation started with the Sagnac effect and the description of it being an experiment being correctly pointed out that it isn't. And I'm going to use
It's
that
not.
but I'm going to use that to segue into lots of other things that are asserted by flat earthers. So you've got Sagnac, Michelson, Morley. You've got what's the one with the telescope filled with water?
Aries failure.
Aries failure. Would you call that an experiment? Hands up on the panel who would call Aries failure A, an experiment, or B, a proof of something.
Aries'
Like an
failure
observation.
was the filling the telescope with water to see if the angle changed when he got a refraction through the water, because light slows down when it goes through water.
That's nice.
Was it an experiment?
An observation.
That wasn't the question.
Was it an
was it?
experiment? No, because it didn't manipulate a presumed cause. Mind you, did it? Because was the cause? No, because the light was bending as you put it in. Cause. Is there an
Slowed
effect?
down? What?
Yeah, I could say on the face of it, it does appear to be a scientific experiment.
Oh, really? So
and did they establish the cause of their effect?
No, they failed to establish the cause.
So what's a null result? What does a null result give you?
The opposing position to your hypothesis.
The opposing
So if
position?
your hypothesis is that the Earth is turning, then your null hypothesis would be the Earth is not turning, or something does not cause this.
Something does not cause it.
Yes.
So it invalidates your alternative hypothesis.
It invalidates your normal hypothesis. It's the opposing position. You can't have them both.
Right. Ipso facto, if you validate your null, you invalidate your alternative hypothesis. So your statement is that it's not caused by what you assumed caused the effect. So
yeah.
So what you've essentially done is you've ruled out one possible cause. Would you agree?
Yes.
So when you're declaring null results, what use do you think that is?
Nothing, because you failed to prove something. It's a bit like Slice Barkane when he failed to prove the curvature of the Earth.
I'm just saying there's quite a few null results that get bandied around as though they're proof of something.
Be careful of something. The null hypothesis is never tested directly. It's the default. You test the alternative hypothesis. Based on the results of the alternative hypothesis, you either reject or hold the null hypothesis. It's the default. Just to make that clear.
Yeah, this is the empirical nature of the scientific method. Because at the end, once you've performed your systematic experimentation, as John puts it, you either invalidate your null, even though, as John correctly also points out, you're not testing the null. You vary and manipulate that which you presume causes the effect, and if it doesn't, you validate your null. But you're not testing that it doesn't cause the effect, you're testing that it does cause the effect. And if it does cause the effect, you validate your alternative hypothesis. And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who have joined us on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, for tuning in, hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Massive thank you to all of today's debating panel. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!